What is going on, everybody? Welcome to an episode of Smart Stories. Another episode, whatever you want to say. I do not care. You know why? Because it is a good day. Man, a lot of cool stuff in wrestling going on. I'm going to spend a lot of this video talking about just 3 topics. And I'm cool with that, if you're cool with that. Actually, more like 4. But some really huge stuff happened with like 3 huge guys in wrestling overall. This entire episode, warning you now, completely focused on AEW and WWE. Can't believe this is the first thing we're talking about. This is on the bottom rung. AEW World Champ CM Punk in and out already. I think it's cool that Tony's not taking the belt off of him and that they're just going to be doing an interim champion and doing it like the UFC style, which I think is great. A little bit different. I enjoy that. Now, the way it's going to work is there's a battle royal, and whoever wins the battle royal is going to face Jon Moxley, who is the current #1 contender because he's like 7-0 in matches, what have you, blah, 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 to become the interim champion, which I think is going to be crowned at the Forbidden Door, because like there's some stuff going on the New Japan side too, so it's going to end up being like New Japan versus AEW for the interim championship, which I think is cool. I think that that's a great idea. I'm going to use that to... No, I don't want to segue into it yet because I want to save it because I've got one more thing. Last night was WWE's pay-per-view for this month to answer Double or Nothing. Watching the highlights, I don't think that they had a better card than Double or Nothing until the main event. But that is our main event for this episode. That's why it is titled For the Love of the Game. Speaking for the love of the game, essentially, whatever. It was rumored that Bray Wyatt was going to return last night at WWE's pay-per-view. Sorry, paying attention to traffic and everything. I have to film this in the car because I've got a crazy schedule going on, and I wanted to make sure I got it out. And this is the only time I have to do things sometimes. So a lot of my videos, if you're new here, get done while I'm driving to and from work. Except for hunting, I can't do that from the car. Well, I mean, I guess I could, but it's not legal. But anywho, back to what we were talking about. Bray Wyatt, no, didn't happen. And honestly, I did not expect it to happen. You know, he said, patience, it's coming, but I don't think it's with WWE. Why? Because of everything that's gone on that he has already kind of like put out there. He still has to talk about what's gone on for real. But we've been given hints that something happened between him and Vince. And not just from him, but from Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy said that Vince would punish him, which is crazy. But that's not the only case here lately that we've heard of Vince punishing somebody. Tyrus, Brodus Clay. That whole Brodus Clay thing was a punishment, apparently. Brain quit working. Dang it. Edit this out. And then the whole thing with Simon Gotch. Bray said, don't waste your time. Vince won't like your personality. So that makes me think that Simon and Bray are possibly a lot alike, and he's trying to save Simon some headaches. I don't know, but there's some bad blood there, and I don't think a year is enough time gone for him to come back to WWE. Will he go to AEW? I don't think so, because AEW's got so much stuff going on right now. I just don't see it happening. But really, there's no other huge company that he could go to. No offense, Impact. You're cool and all, but I just don't see it. And I don't see Control Your Narrative either. At first I thought, yeah, maybe. But they're trying. Bless their hearts. They are trying. I thought it'd be cool to discuss some Bray Wyatt stuff because I am a Bray Wyatt fan, but I don't know how much time I want to spend on that today. I might save that as just for a special episode all on itself, because with it being Smart Stories and stuff like that, the whole, I guess, the way this started was to talk about, like, my thoughts on when Shane McMahon got released. That's how this whole thing started, was, you know, hey, you should film a video of this. And I did, and then I just was like, well, I want to talk wrestling, so I kept on going. But I just really want to talk about the next two subjects more right now, and we'll just save that one for later. I might drop another episode later this week, because I've got plenty of time to spend in the car. My drive back and forth to work's like an hour long, and after I let my phone charge, all I've got is time, right? So, especially whenever I'm in traffic. All right, anywho. So, I hate that this is, I almost hate that this is the second topic, or third, really, at this point, because this deserves an episode all of its own. The next two things deserve an episode all of their own, because they're so huge. But we, you know, if you did not get a chance to watch the MJF promo that happened on Dynamite, go watch it. Wow, that thing was fantastic. Man, that felt really real. Having been a disgruntled employee myself, I get it. And, you know, man, he hit some nails on the head, and honestly, you know, whatever MJF wants, Tony needs to give MJF that and more. You know, I personally, I think that MJF needs to be the interim champion, and then we get CM Punk versus MJF again. I know we just had the dog collar match and blah, 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 but, I mean, doesn't MJF deserve it? And you know those two guys can work together and do an amazing job. You know, he had a lot of great points, but I still think taking it out on the fans on the meet and greet, not a big fan of that. And he actually brought that up, and, you know, he said a lot in that whole little, like, what I'm trying to say is he said a lot in that very short sentence of, you know, you guys thought I was I'm going to paraphrase, a jerk for not showing up on the meet and greet, but you don't know everything. And no, we don't know everything. We have no idea what's gone on behind the scenes between him and Tony and everything else. And maybe there was a situation that he actually thought he was going to have to go home to New Jersey for. Maybe a lot of this is a work and we don't know it. There's a lot of things that we don't know things on, because we're not back behind the scenes. That's like me with Monster Truck stuff. Whenever I'm behind the scenes on something, I know way more than, you know, the people in the crowd. Like, oh, well, blah, 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 with such and such truck. Well, you know, you don't know the situation. For example, if the truck couldn't make the show and we had to bring in somebody else, you know, that guy's bummed out because he's missing out on a paycheck. Or, you know, maybe there was a falling out because the promoter promised something that the promoter couldn't deliver on, and so on and so on. Kind of the same situation. We just don't know. And, man, the way he ended it with, don't you count me down, to the camera guy, and then, you know, hey, Tony, fire me. Like, that was insane. And it was great. Man, he can cut a promo, and he's right. He doesn't need all the crazy spots, but he's done some crazy stuff all on his own, too. Like, how bloody that dog collar match was. That was insane. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy stuff that has happened that it's just so good with MJF. And he you know, like you said, Tony's the stat guy. He knows what he has in MJF, and he needs to start acting like it. Not now, I mean, obviously, if this is work, whatever, and I'm not a big business guy, so I can't, you know, sit there and say what have you about how Tony should run his business. But at the same time, I mean, I just feel like MJF deserves to get taken care of. That's it, plain and simple. I really hope to see some really cool stuff come from this. If it does end up where it's, you know, hey, we're going to let you go. I hope that both parties can mend fences eventually. And maybe MJF come back whenever he's an ex-WWE guy. Reference to the promo again. Because he's going to be good. He's going to be amazing. And for being a 26-year-old guy, yeah, dude's going to be going places. I really think that. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens with him. And with this whole MJF, or with the whole Tony Khan situation, I mean, how much of it's real, how much of it's fake, who knows? But he probably is, definitely by the way that promo went, he probably is feeling some disgruntledness there. How amazing Cody Rhodes is. Okay, I gotta say, well, I didn't get a chance to watch the pay-per-view. Cody! The word was Cody wasn't gonna be in the main event at HIAC last night. Okay, so, well, what would they do then? Because Roman is going to a Lesnar style schedule, which I'm not a fan of. If you're the champion, you need to be there all the time. We see that, you know, I mean, who would you have? I mean, at that point, you almost hope that Bray Wyatt's going to be the guy to show up. But at the same time, your main event, going into it, this is probably why they did the whole, you know, thing with the rumors of Bray Wyatt. Your main event for your show is Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. No offense to either guy. Seth has had some amazing cell matches. Cody does a great job. And this is, I'm talking prior to what we actually got to see last night, which I haven't even gotten to see the full match yet. But then we hear that Cody's hurt. So Cody may not even be in the main event. Okay, so who do you get to face Seth Rollins at that point inside of a cell? Who can give him a great match right out the gate? Okay, Edge and AJ are both in a match already. You can't really break that one down. So, I mean, you can't really pull Kevin Owens from the Ezekiel thing. They've got that going on. You're really kind of stuck with one option, in my opinion. And Cody, whenever he took that jacket off and you see that torn pectoral, and there's some discussion on whether it's real or not, and I know, you know, there's some really great makeup artists out there that can make that look like a torn pectoral, but I've had buddies that have torn their pectorals and stuff. That's what it looks like. I mean, and like the way he was holding his arm and everything, doing different things, I seriously think it was torn. But, I mean, the dude brought in a bull rope in the cell match, which is absolutely insane and a great thought. Like, I thought that was amazing. Because, you know, we always see tables, we see ladders, we see chairs, we've seen thumbtacks and everything else. So I think, to my knowledge, this was the first time a bull rope was ever used in a cell match. But this dude, okay, you know, this morning whenever I woke up, I know we're going back and forth here, but bear with me. Whenever I woke up this morning and seen he actually wrestled, and I seen him take the coat off, and I see the you know, the bruising and the blood on the top of the skin and everything from the torn pectoral, I'm like, oh, they probably did some sort of dumb fiend finish like they did with Seth back, you know, a few years ago. Then I find out, no, this dude actually went like a full match and actually had huge crazy spots. And it's like, what? Are you serious with that? That's super awesome. AEW's guy got, you know, put on an interim championship whatever junk because of a broken foot. And this guy, you know, he's out here just laying it all on the line. Which brings me to my next point about Cody. If you watch any of his interviews, he really loves his dad, first off. He thought highly of what his dad said and cared very much for what his dad did for the business and has a huge respect for the business. We've seen him here recently, just since WrestleMania, whenever he was talking with Stone Cold. Thanked him for the house, meaning Stone Cold was in the main event, that means you thank that guy for being in the main event and you being under him. And he did that. And he's got a love for the old school way that the wrestling business was. And he's very passionate about it and handles it very well, I think. And his dad told him one time, maximize your minutes. And he has. I mean, think about it. This guy knew he was probably going to be out with surgery at this point, I'm sure is guaranteed. And he's probably going to be out for another 5 or 6 months after just coming back. And so he knew he needed to do something amazing to stay in that loving spot. And he risked a lot by going into that match. Again, if this is all real, which I think it is, he risked a lot by doing that. And it looked fantastic from all the things that I've seen in highlights and stuff. And he got the win, which I think means a lot. And it seemed like they were going to have him win the belt. But where do you go from here now? Do you have Reigns hold on to it for a while longer? Do you drop the belt to Seth Rollins? Do you have, where do you go? Because the guy that it seems like you were building up to be your next champion just had a huge setback, which is extremely unfortunate because I was looking forward to seeing the Winged Eagle come back. Because that's another thing Cody had talked about doing, was bringing back the Winged Eagle belt, which, no offense guys, I get, the big WWE logo, it's easier to see at parades and stuff, and the only reason why I know that is thought of that is because Undertaker said it in a thing or whatever. But the Winged Eagle belt, anybody who's a huge wrestling fan just loves that belt. And I think that belt was such a great representation of the company and such a legendary look. And to see that come back would be amazing. And have like a new take on it, essentially. Because, Cody brought back the old school style Intercontinental title, which I thought was great. Because I like that style of Intercontinental title, but I also like the one that was from like the Attitude Era, where it was like more thinner, had the glow and like the turquoise look to it. I thought that was fantastic. Guys, that was pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. We're at 18 minutes, so I got to get this edited down. I've got a lot going on tonight. Not going to get to watch Raw. Cannot wait to finally get to watch the full match. The Seth Rollins wearing the polka dots was great too, because him trolling his opponents the way he has, like wearing the shield attire out whenever he faced Roman at Royal Rumble, the polka dots with this, it's all been fantastic, I think, in my opinion, and it's just been good fun. So as we're wrapping things up, make sure if you're a comic book fan that you're going to SeerNovaComics.com. They're going to start slowly releasing stories from their anthology issue that they did last year, Chronicles of Horror 2, on there. Sign up, read that. Be sure to read my comic, Making Tracks. I guess that's all I've got right now. Be sure that you like and subscribe, and follow me on here. Follow me on Instagram, TikToks, Twitter. Well, I don't do Twitter. TikToks, Facebooks, all that good stuff. And we'll be seeing you guys on the next one. Stay tuned. I'm gonna really be trying to drop some new stuff here real soon. I apologize for the wait.